everybody. It is Curtis Tucker, aka Shags, back with another episode of the Curtis Tucker Podcast. Welcome back. I appreciate you guys. If you guys are listening to the podcast on your favorite app, don't forget that you can go over to YouTube and watch me on video, and I can wave at you and show you Shaggy Duck Studio. If you guys are watching on the YouTube channel, don't forget that if you guys are driving or busy, that you can listen on your morning run on most all of your favorite podcasting apps. Please subscribe to the podcast on your apps and subscribe to the YouTube channel, because one of these days, if I can get enough of you guys to subscribe to the channel, I can make a couple of bucks on the YouTube videos. Anyway, welcome back. Hit me up at curtistucker.com or shags@shaggyduck.com. I'd love to hear from you. Love the comments, love the feedback. Let me know that there's somebody out there listening, because I don't know. But my goal is a episode a week this year. I think I'm on par for episode a week, and we are on the last week of February, so I have adhered to that. I didn't really have any good ideas for this week's episode, and I was doing some rambling and some just meandering on the internet, and ran across an old website of mine which had a link on it, which led to an old website of my mom's, which led to an old website of mine. And then I found a page on one of my old websites that had almost all of the names of the websites that I had back in the day. And I thought it might be kind of fun and interesting just to zip through those real quick and let you guys know what life was like for me back in the day. So if you didn't know, back around 2003, I quit my job as advertising director for a drug chain. I'd been there 13 years, and I quit to work at home and make money on the internet. And I discovered that I could make money with Google AdSense and affiliate marketing and things like that. And how I had done that was I'd put some code and stuff on cartoons.com, which was my website at the time, and a light bulb went off when I made, like not even like 34 cents or some small crazy number, but the entrepreneur light bulb went off in my head, and I thought, wow, if I could make a little bit of money every day on a website without having to do anything other than build the website, couldn't I like 10 times that or 100 times that by building 100 websites? So around 2003, basically between 2003 and probably 2008, my goal was to build 100 websites and blogs and put advertising on them and just make money doing nothing but making sure they were online. Now I would update some of them a little bit, but it wasn't like I had to. It was just more, I was just updating them to create more pages, because more pages meant more money. And so at the peak, I never got 100 of them built. Now I did have 100, I've had well over 100 domain names, probably over 200 domain names. I might have had 40 to 50 websites all online at the same time at one point. And then I think I was making a decent amount of income. I was doing cartooning at the same time, and so I don't think I never got all 100 of the websites built, but I had the names and the ideas for them all. Just didn't get them done. But anyway, I ran across a list of those websites, and I think the list was from around 2005. So I wasn't at my peak for all of the domain names that I eventually bought. So I went through some other things and try to find a lot of those. So I'll probably name off at least 100 websites that I had tonight on this podcast. And it's kind of a great show for me, because it'll give me a reminder, let's say 5 years from now, if I'm trying to remember, okay, what websites did I have? Or if somebody asks me, hey, what kind of websites did you have back in the day? This is what I had. And some of these names and some of these websites are going to seem really strange to you all, and even me. Looking back 20 years now at some of these, I would be thinking, what? But at the time, they made a lot of sense, and at the time, they made a little bit of money, and there's reasons that they made money. It was either because of their name, their subject matter, which was basically their keywords, or things like that. So I'm going to zip through this list of the websites that I had up and going in 2005. So I built a bunch of them really quick and got them up going in like that first 2 years. So cartoons.com was the first domain name, the first website I ever built, and I built that in 1999. And that's what got me started on the internet and building websites, because I was just wanting to put my cartoons on the internet and have editors see my cartoons and buy them so I didn't have to mail. And my name is Curtis, and I was doing cartoons, so I bought cartoons.com, and that was my original website, and that was the original website that I put code on and made a few cents. And after I made the few cents, I thought, oh wow, if I build a whole bunch more websites, I'll make a whole bunch more money. So I believe I don't know. After that, I could probably, through lots of research, figure it out. I don't know exactly what my next website was that I purchased, but so these are in no particular order. After cartoons, these are in no particular order, but I'm going to go to shaggyduck.com, which I believe I bought in 2000 or 2003, somewhere in there. But Shaggy Duck became my company name. So Cartoons was kind of my cartoon and cartoon logo company. But then I was also doing web design, I was doing graphic design, I was doing cartoons, I was doing cartoon logos, I was doing just all kinds of different things. So I needed a company name to umbrella everything that I was doing, and so that's when I came up with Shaggy Duck Studio, and so I bought shaggyduck.com, and that was the page that I just recently found that had this list of the websites on it. So shaggyduck.com is basically my home base. Cartoons.com was my cartoon base, and then I bought curtistucker.com pretty early in there as well, in the early 2000s, because I thought, well, why don't I blog? And if you're going to blog, you might as well call your blog your name. Well, I was buying domain names and stuff early enough. Now, I wasn't like the earliest, but I was pretty early, so I could get a lot of names that I wanted, but super popular words were already gone, were long gone. And I wish I had known that, like in 1999, I'd have bought up a ton of them. But so I bought curtistucker.com. That was my own personal blog. So some of my domain names were for websites, and then some of them were for blogs. And a website is basically just kind of a static website with pages that you just look through and it doesn't really ever change. A blog is more like a web log of your thoughts, and you're talking about something and you're updating it and you're archiving all of your little things. And so so I thought, well, let me blog about being an entrepreneur, being a stay-at-home dad, growing up in the 70s. And so I started curtistucker.com as that blog. And so that's what I did there. Then I started a website called Cartoon Logos. Now, it was Cartoon Logos because Cartoon Logos was already gone, but I wanted a website that had, so at that time, one of the factors for ranking high in Google was if you had the keywords that you were trying to rank for in your domain name. And if you've ever heard me talk about the Google algorithm, it changed all the time. So just as soon as they released that and said, okay, if you have the keywords in your domain name, we're going to give you a higher ranking for that keyword, then we all went out and bought websites with the keywords. Google figured that out and then took that out of the algorithm, and then it didn't matter. So when you look back now at some of the websites that I bought or domain names that I bought, they seem really goofy, but at the time they helped me get the rankings that I needed to make more money with all of this affiliate marketing and Google AdSense. So eCartoon Logos had the word cartoon logos. Well, I was a cartoon logo designer. Now, of course, I was doing that on cartoons.com, but I thought, well, after I draw that, so cartoons.com was to lure clients in, and then I was kind of using eCartoon Logos as kind of to put my logos on as a portfolio, hoping that I would rank higher in the search rankings for that. Plus, it was a second avenue of allowing people to find me that were looking for cartoon logo designer. So cartoons.com ranked #1 for cartoon logos for a decade or longer. So I kind of had that set, but I didn't think it was going to hurt. And then what I also did was to try to fool Google and also to not lose my entire business. When I would build these websites, I kind of split them. I think I eventually had them split on 3 different servers. So I had 3 different servers hosting these different websites, and then I tried to spread them out where, you know, like cartoon logos, cartoons, and maybe something else to do with cartoons or logos there was one each on one of those 3 servers. So if one server ever went down, I still had 2 servers full of websites up and running. And I don't know why I thought that might fool. And then I started linking. So then linking became a big factor in ranking in Google. So I thought, well, if I build 100 websites, I can link between all the 100 websites to each other, and like one website would have 99 links to it, which is really, really good, and especially back then. And so in my mind, I thought, well, if I separate these on different servers, the Google algorithm won't know that they're all mine and I'm linking to myself, which I think it probably did or eventually did. Maybe at the time it didn't. So that was another reason that I split them up, and I had so many and I put them on different servers, and I used kind of the same keywords over and over, because the more domain names using the same keywords that I had, if they would link to the same websites, it just gave me more what we call link juice. And all this is before 2012, when everything changed. So it was a game, it was fun, it was called search engine optimization, it was SEO. It was kind of what I did for a living, was figured out how to rank websites high in Google so I could get more traffic and make more money. And that was kind of the game I played. And so another one was Zoinkies. Now today Zoinkies is my t-shirt store, but originally Zoinkies was a directory. And what I did was I just took like 100 popular keywords, and I made a directory of websites for all of those keywords. And so it brought in traffic for people searching for websites for those keywords. And I just wanted kind of a generic name for that website. And so I took Zoinks and Jinkies from Scooby-Doo and made Zoinkies. And the next one was the cartoon site. Again, it was just another, thecartoonsite.com. It was just another cartoon related website that I could get traffic to, and then also link to my other websites. And it was a domain name that had the word cartoon in it. So I put a lot of my cartoons, maybe that didn't have as many of my cartoon logos. It was more cartoon illustration that I was doing at the time. Life's a Character was a fun website. And so what life'sacharacter.com. So what would happen was sometimes I would do a cartoon logo for a client, and I had to figure all this out on my own because there was no anybody doing this. I had to make up all this stuff on my own. So eventually I got smart enough that I figured out if I didn't want to get ripped off or spend time not making money, I made all my clients pay me 50% of their logo price up front. And probably my normal cartoon logo price was $600. So they had to pay me $300 before I would even start on their logo. Well, as weird as it sounds, I would have a lot of people paying me $300. I would do the logo, give them the preliminary designs, and sometimes I would never hear back from them. Sometimes they wouldn't like what I did, even though they described to a T what they wanted. And so we'd go back and forth, and I'd be like, look, that's, I'm not going to create something completely new. Otherwise, I got to charge you another $600. I'm going off of what you told me. And then sometimes they would get mad and leave, or just, I don't know, just for one reason or another. So I would end up with these characters that I still owned the copyright and trademark to, because the company didn't pay me the $300 remaining, which meant they didn't get the logo. And so what I started doing was I would put these on the website Life's a Character, and I would sell them for like $39 or $69 as royalty-free designs, which meant multiple people could use the same design, but nobody but me could own the copyright. So you could use it as your logo in, like, say, Indiana, and somebody could use it for their logo in Texas, and neither one could prevent the other one from using it, but neither one of them owned the design. I still owned the design. So I did pretty good at that. So I had a lot of designs on there. So I would just stick leftover logo, and then sometimes I would do a logo for a client, and I would give them like 3 variations, and like sometimes those 3 variations might be completely different from each other, and they would pick one, pay me the $300, and then they would get that logo. Well, then I'd have 2 left over that they didn't use, and again, those characters would go on Life's a Character, and they would just be sold over and over and over again as royalty-free designs. Then I bought Little Sneakers Media. I don't know what I was thinking. I like sneakers. I was thinking of maybe, I think what it says cartoon character licensing. I think I was thinking about starting a cartoon licensing branding business where I was going to let people license some of my cartoons. That never really took off. And then I bought cartoonlicense.com. That way, if anybody was looking for a cartoon license, they would come straight to my website. Again, I was going to license cartoons and cartoon characters. And then I decided to start a line of pop art. And I was creating all this pop art on the computer. It was computer-generated pop art. And I was looking for a funky, crazy name. And Gary Larson had a book out called Wiener Dog Art. So I called mine Wiener Duck Art because I was Shaggy Duck. So it was really just wienerduck.com, but that was my cartoon pop art website. And what I did was I came up with, I don't know, almost a dozen designs, and I would sell those as prints and get them framed, and people bought those pop art images framed from me, and I'd put them on t-shirts, and they'd buy the t-shirts. So so I still have all those. I still have all of the Wiener Duck characters as well. Then I bought Make Life Happy. So I was thinking Life's Been Good was doing so well, and they were selling a bajillion of t-shirts. So I thought, well, let me create my own version of Life is Good. So I created Make Life Happy, which was just a simple, pretty simple logo. And I had a whole bunch of happy slogans and phrases, and I had a website with 100 different things that would make you happy. I never really took that one very far. Then I bought imaginativewonders.com. That one was going to be a naming company. I'd started a side business of helping people come up with crazy names or creative names for their company. I didn't like do serious names. If somebody was looking for a whimsical, fun, creative name, those were the type of names that I was doing. I didn't do that for very long, but Imaginative Wonders was the name of that. And then for some weird reason, I came up with Adadude, Adadude, Add a Dude, because I kind of thought it sounded like attitude, I guess. It was a small budget advertising company where I did cheap ads for people. I don't know where I was going. I really can't remember where I was going with that. And then I bought iPadDude.com right as the iPads came out, not thinking that I was, infringing on the iPad trademark. I never got a cease and desist letter. I never was told to take it down. I eventually got rid of it, but at the time, it was iPadDude.com. And what I did was I bought the first iPad that came out. And so I was showing people how to use it, what apps to put on it, how to use the camera, accessories for it. And then it got so popular that I had companies that would send me things. They would send me free stands or free covers or free cords if I would talk about them or review them on the iPod Dude blog. And so it turned out to be a pretty cool deal because I got a ton of iPad stuff for free. So that was kind of fun. Then I bought Wallpaper Dude. So back in the day, everybody needed wallpaper for their desktop and their phones and whatever electronic devices they had. So because they wanted something fun and colorful, not the boring stuff. And so I came up with wallpaperdude.com and I started creating free desktop wallpaper. And so the key word to that website was free desktop wallpaper. And I would just I would take my cartoon characters and make funny cartoony backgrounds and things like that. And I'd let people download them for free because what I was doing was I was getting lots of traffic that were clicking on the ads and making me money because I was giving away something free. So that was a fun website. It's kind of weird to think about it now that people actually came to websites and actually went to websites and paid for desktop wallpapers, but they did. Then came the classic baby store. So I wanted to start. I was doing a lot of affiliate marketing and drop shipping, and so I started theclassicbabystore.com because it had the name baby store in it. I ranked #1 in Google for baby furniture during that period of time. So people were coming to my website. I had baby furniture all over it. If they clicked on it, it would take them to another website where they could actually purchase it. And then each purchase they made, I got a percentage of the sale. So that was kind of cool. And I did that one for a long time. I had a lot of baby furniture on there. And then I did Enid Buzz, which is kind of my full-time business right now. And at that time, in 2005, it was just a blog that I did that I was going to talk about Enid. And so I created that. Then around that time, I'd kind of fallen in love with martinis. So I started martinilovers.com. And basically what I was going to try to do on there was have every known martini recipe on that website. So basically, if somebody went to Google and typed in any kind of martini recipe, I was hoping my website, Martinis Lovers, would pop up. So I had, I don't know how many martini recipes on it, but I had, had to be 100 or more. And then, so they would come to Martini Lovers and find the recipes for different martinis, and then I had martini glasses, bar glasses, things like that I was affiliate marketing. So if somebody would click on martini glasses and buy those glasses, I would get a percentage of the sale. And then MakeMoneyIdeasOnline.com, a super long, crazy domain name, but at the time, highly searched for term was make money ideas online. I mean, some of these I just took directly from, we would research these, people would collect what keywords were being searched for, and they would rank them. And I would go through that ranking and pick out the words that had the least amount of competition and build a website for it. And one of those keyword phrases was make money ideas online. So I bought the domain name and basically just put different ways of making money online, And none of these websites, except for just a few, were ever very big. They were what we call thin content websites. They were only made so I could make money with AdSense and advertising. I didn't want to be the best website on the internet for martinis or make money ideas, because if I gave people too much information, they wouldn't click on a link or an ad to go somewhere else. And so I had to find that balance of having enough content that Google would send me traffic, but not enough content that people were satisfied and they wouldn't want to go somewhere else. So then I bought Webdo. So WEBDOH, Webdo. It was just kind of a information destination. I had buzzwords that were popular at the time. It was kind of about pop culture. I don't even hardly remember what all that was about. And then I bought, let's see, the Shaggy Duck Skate and Surf Shack. I can't remember what the domain name was for that. But I have this fascination with surf and surfboards, and so I started selling affiliate surf gear, surf wear, stuff like that. It might have been ShaggyDuckSurfShack.com. I can't remember what the domain name was on that. And then I opened up a movie poster store, and I don't have it in front of me what the domain name for that was. I think I'd have to click on, let me see if I can click on the link, if I still have that pulled up. I don't. So I don't really remember what the, maybe I'll find it real quick. But anyway, movie posters were big, and there was a company that I became an affiliate of so I could sell movie posters, and when somebody would buy one, I would get a part of the, say, here it is. Let me click on it, the poster store. It was called, I think it was just Shaggy Duck Poster Store. I think it was just a section of Shaggy Duck, actually, that I sold those posters on. So, okay. And then I started a greeting card company called Chuckleberries, and it was the Chuckleberries paper card company. It was at chuckleberries.com, and that actually got fairly popular. I would upload my cartoon designs. Boutiques and gift stores would order the cards wholesale. I would print them here in my studio, fold them. I bought really colorful polka dotted envelopes, and then I would mail them. And I think I had cards in close to 80, 100 stores at one time. But it got it just was taking up too much of my time printing and folding and mailing. So I kind of abandoned it. I uploaded all of my greeting cards online and just started selling them as people ordered them. They could order them online, and then a company online would print them and mail them, and I stopped doing the wholesale. So, but I did that for a while. That was kind of fun. Chuckleberry's paper card company. Then I bought wowzerzowzer.com. I always liked that phrase. It had Chuckleberries. It had different greeting cards on it as well. Then I bought Giggleberries because I had Chuckleberries. I went ahead and bought Giggleberries.com. And then I had wholesalepapercards.com for people looking for wholesale paper cards. And I bought Paper Giggles, which is just another variation of greeting cards. That one I think I sold mostly funny birthday cards. Then I bought the blossombunch.com, and that was another line of greeting cards that I was doing of these. I did I think there was 4 or 5 characters. They were all flowers. And so every greeting card had the flower characters on it and had some saying to do with flowers or something. And then I licensed the Blossom Bunch characters as well. Then I bought alternativebirthdaycards.com because that was a highly searched for term, and I just put alternative birthday cards on there. Another thing that was highly searched for at the time was dog names, puppy dog names. So when people would get a dog, they wouldn't know what to name it, so they would do an internet search. So I bought baby dog names and actually did pretty well with baby dog names as far as traffic. And I had a guy offer to buy it from me, and I think I was making $6,000 a year off of the Google AdSense. So I told him I'd sell it to him for $12,000, basically 2 years of income, and he bought it. So I sold baby dog names for $12,000. I had groovygoon.com. It was stuff for older guys. It was affiliate links to gifts for basically dudes, called Groovy Goon. I had eFunny Cartoons. Funny Cartoons was highly searched for, but that domain was already taken, so I did eFunny Cartoons, thinking that I would still be able to get a lot of traffic, which I did. I bought Old Fart Cartoons because people were searching for this stuff. I bought, then this one, I don't know why I bought whofawted.com, and it was spelled FAWTED, fawted, like a little kid would say, I fawted. So it was Who Fawted, and I made some t-shirt designs. So I sold those t-shirt designs. Then I bought Funny Little Sayings, and that website did really well. It just had pages and pages and pages of sayings and funny sayings, and people were always looking for funny sayings online. It was a very highly searched for term. Then I did 50th birthday sayings, another thing that was highly searched for. A lot of the pages, I just made up stuff. I would just sit there and just make up dumb, 5-second phrases and sayings, and I would put them on there. And then I bought laughingbananas.com, which was kind of I was going to make it a political website to kind of make fun of people that were so outrageous online. I never really got around to getting that anywhere. Then I bought fascinatingideas.com. That was going to be for kind of an idea website. I bought eDiet Basics because at that time, thousands and thousands of people were searching for diet basics, and so I bought edietbasics.com. I put diet tips and links to diet things on there. I bought Diamond Engagement Wedding Rings, very long domain name, but guess what? People were searching for diamond engagement wedding rings. That one, of course, I didn't have any wedding rings, but I had affiliate links to a whole bunch of jewelry stores. I didn't, those type of websites I didn't work on a whole lot. I didn't try to get them ranked. I didn't try to get links. So they made some money. They just didn't make a whole, but the thing is, most of these didn't make a lot of money, but because there were so many of them, I was making great money. I think at my peak, my average, this was average, just the Google AdSense clicks alone on these websites was 4,000 a month, and that was average. And so, and that was just clicking on those little links. That wasn't affiliate, any of the affiliate money or my cartooning money at the time. And then I bought free clip art picks. Now that was the one that made me a ton of money. Freeclipartpicks.com. You guys wouldn't realize how many people were searching for free clip art online. And so I created that one. And then what I would do is I would draw little pieces of clip art, like really small, just basic, like a heart or a loaf of bread or a shoe or a, I don't know, just real simple things. And I would make them really small and I'd give them away for free. But they were so small that you couldn't really use them for anything major because, you know, I wasn't charging a fee for anybody to use them. But I mean, I just got tons of traffic on that website, made a ton of, I think that was a website I made most of my AdSense money on. Then I bought Serendipity.com. Serendipity was a clip art website. I decided because I was making so much money, I decided to start another one. Then I bought Life's a Photograph, which I was taking a lot of photographs, and so I started uploading them on that, and I was letting people buy those royalty free, you know, for I don't even remember how much I was charging for those, but I was taking a lot of pictures, so I thought, well, I might as well make money off some of those pictures. Then I bought Funny T-shirts USA.com, and that was I had a line of Kurt shirts, so I was selling my own print-on-demand T-shirts on there. Then I bought free e-card site because e-cards had become popular and they were kind of taking over paper greeting cards. So freeecardSite.com, and I actually started making animated e-cards. I would put them on there. People could download them or send them to their friends, and I didn't get paid, but I made money off of people coming to the website. Then I bought WeddingSnoop.com, and it was basically a directory for everything wedding. If you're looking for anything wedding, you came there. I bought eGolf birthday gifts.com because people were looking for golf birthday gifts, and again, it was just affiliate. I'd put golf clubs, golf balls, novelty golf items, but when you clicked on them, it took you to a different store, and when I made a sale, I would get a percentage of the sale. Then ebabynames.com, again, puppy names and baby names. People were actually looking for baby names online. They were looking for ideas, so I started eBaby Names because baby names was taken, and I would just list names, tons of names. And then Tattoo Designs was a super popular term, and so I bought eTattoo Designs, and I think I also had eTattoo Designs with the word tattoo misspelled, only one T in the middle because a lot of people misspelled it. That website only lasted until autocorrect. When Google came out with autocorrect, that website kapooped, and I was just left with eTattoo Design spelled correctly. Then I bought Parent Family Education. It was just a search term that came up. EHS 81, that was a website, a blog for my high school class. The Coupon Nerd was basically had affiliate links to discount websites and discount clubs. If people would sign up and join, I'd get a percentage of the sale. At some point in there, I became the head of my class's reunions, and so I had done several of our reunions, and I had some experience with reunions, so I started reunionmojo.com, and basically I would give tips of what worked and what didn't work, what to do at your reunion, what not to do, reasons for people to go to the reunion, things like that. So it was just another. And then one of the search terms that I ran across was ag steel buildings. Well, I wasn't going to get a lot of traffic for ag steel buildings, but I did find a company that built steel buildings, and they had an affiliate link, and so I don't think I ever got any money, but when somebody would click and go to that website, if they were to ever order a steel building, I would have made a percentage of the sale, which would have been huge. So anyway, so I threw that one in, and that really, at that time, and this is right around 2005, those were all of the main websites that I had online, and they were all making at least a little bit of money, and they all added up to a really great income at that time. And that lasted 10 years. So basically from 2003 to 2013. In 2012 is when they changed the Google algorithm. Look up the Panda update, and I got caught up in the Panda update, and basically it unranked all of my websites, so you couldn't even find some of my you couldn't find my websites. They just weren't, you couldn't find them in searches anymore, which meant all of my traffic was gone, all of my clicks were gone, and what they were doing was they were punishing thin content, small websites, and they went and gave more oomph to bigger websites. That's why you see Wikipedia and a lot of those, any website where there's like thousands and thousands and thousands of pages, those websites rank high in Google now. And so the Google search results are just completely different than they used to be. I mean, back when I started, when you did a search in Google, the first website would be like, if you typed in cartoon logos, the first website would be cartoons.com. Well, then after a while, they started putting ads at the top. So there'd be like 3 ads, and then cartoons would be the 4th spot. And then they did the Panda update, and so then you had like 3 ads, and then you'd have Wikipedia, and then you'd have something like elance.com and a couple of those freelance websites that had like thousands and thousands of people that joined, and then like either at the very bottom or the next page would be the actual websites. Well, then AI came along, and so now you've got AI at the top, then you've got 4 or 5 paid ad sites, and then you've got Wikipedia and all the big websites. So you got to go to page like number 3 to get to any real websites anymore. And so it's getting tougher and tougher for unknown websites to get any traffic. Now, if you have a website and you're linking to it from social media or paying for traffic, you can get traffic to a website. So websites are still important, it's just hard to get traffic, free traffic from Google like we used to anymore. So be wary of that. So I'm going to go through a couple more, and these weren't really websites. These were just domain names that I bought that I was going to do websites. I wanted to do a whole line to go with Chuckleberries, where I would have different names for different kinds of cards. So I had Snickerberries, Chuckleberries, Giggleberries, Bumbleberries, Whimsyberries, Snickerberries, and then I bought JimSock.com, which I sold. Some of these I've put on a auction domain website, and I still own them, but they're for sale. And I think I sold that one for, I don't know. I think all of them I've put at least $250. So I made between $200 to $500 off of that domain name. I never put a website on it, but somebody wanted the domain name. And then I've got jimsneaker.com. I've got tennyshoe.com, smartybrains.com, and then zoinkies.com. The Zoinkies were the t-shirt store I have now is IES, but I also bought EES just so somebody didn't buy it and try to cause confusion. So I've got Zoinkies with 2 E's.com, webandipity.com. That actually was a website at one time. I think it was a directory that I made. I've got Popologist, or I don't even know if I still have all these. I had at one time. I think I've only got like 60 domain names right now, and a few of those are client. So I might only have 50 of my own domain names left. Halloweenology.com, zipzapzow.com. I think I've gotten rid of that one. Groovologist.com, iPodcartoons.com, and then poopyscoopy.com, which was for pooper scooper businesses. So then what I started doing was buying domain names just to turn around and resell them. So some of these I just bought to resell. I never intended, and this was later. This was like maybe after 2010. I've got the ideaentrepreneur.com, entrepreneurialideas.com, cartoonbrand.com, logocharacters.com, cartooncharactertshirt.com, wittycartoons.com, cartooncharacterclipart.com, and then just another half a dozen clip art character cartoon names in different orders. I've got birthday wishes sample.com, 50th birthday sayings.com, alternative birthday cards. And then I started buying some shorter domain names. One was Beepies, Beepys, and I just bought those because they were short. People sometimes try to buy the shortest domain name you can, and getting anything shorter than 6 letters, getting a 4 or 5 letter domain name is pretty much impossible. So these were 6-letter domain names. Big Goof, BIGOOF.com, boxedpopcorn.com, camerashutterbug.com, serialdays.com, dailyhoroscopeblog.com, fortuneberries.com, freegameaddict.com, goobies.com, hamburgerrecipesite.com, holidaycookies.com, logo characters, littlelovepoems.com, littlelovequotes.com, Poopzy, Poopzy, recipe-notecards.com, tattoocruise.com, videozar.com, vidzy.com, VIDDZY, zodiacsciensite.com, and then just golly, there's another 30 on here. And then now these are more like from the maybe 2016 and beyond. So I've got like 70sbuzz.com now. I have Enid Eats, Enid Ads, Enid Eclipse, Enid Businesses, Sneakers Vibe, Banana Seat Squad, Buzzhead Media, McGillicuddy's, and then I bought Edmund Buzz, Midwest City Buzz, Broken Arrow Buzz, Lawton Buzz, More Buzz. I've got arterrooney.com, Beepies, Dweeky, JohnnyClipArt.com, ShaggyLife.com, Norman Buzz, Stillwater Buzz, Tulsa Buzz, Oklahoma City Buzz, Enid Media, and thatbuzzguy.com, okibuzz.com. So that's basically it. That's all of my .coms. Now there's one I had was WebZot. I think I've only lost lost one domain name in my whole career. The rest of them I either let go, I sold, or I have websites on, or they're up for auction. The only website that I ever lost, because originally cartoons.com, and I had started one called WebZot, WEBZOT, and it was kind of a online web directory, and I just liked the name WebZot. I was using a different registrar for them other than GoDaddy, and I eventually, and the registrar that I was using did not have automatic renew on, whereas GoDaddy does. And so I eventually switched all my domain names to GoDaddy, but before I did that, WebZot came up for renewal and I didn't know it. And whereas GoDaddy just renews it automatically, even if you turn off automatic renewal on GoDaddy, they will email you 500 times, and a month after you've lost it, they'll still let you try to get it before they finally let it go. This other company, and this was like way early in the domain name days, basically the day that it expired, it was available and somebody bought it. You know, it was like 2 days later, I went to the website and it wasn't there. And I was like, why isn't webzot.com online? I went and looked. My domain name had expired and somebody bought it. So, I mean, you talk about, I mean, it was back in the Wild West days of the internet. So basically, I learned a lot of lessons on the way. And one of those lessons was move all your domain names to somewhere that auto renews and doesn't swipe your domain name the first chance it gets. So WebZot, I think I've looked. Some guy had some type of a website up for a while. I don't think anybody even owns it anymore. I think it's just probably not even. Let me see. Let me look real quick. Webzot.com. Well, yeah, somebody's got it. It's for sale. Basically, somebody still owns it, and then they're trying to sell it at auction as well. So there's a page there, but there's no website. So somebody owns it, so it is not up for grabs. It's probably why I think I probably would buy it just for nostalgia. But anyway, so there you go. That is, those are my domain names. You guys probably think I'm a little bit loony, but back in the day, I mean, this was like 2003 to 2013. For that 10 years, it was the wild, wild west with Google and websites and affiliate marketing and Google AdSense and domain names. And I mean, there was just so many ways to make money, and it was just so easy to make money online. And at my peak, out of all those websites that I did have online, I think I was averaging 22,000 visitors a day. That was kind of like my average. So at the end of the day, if I had 22,000 visits, and I had it set up somewhere where I had counters on all my websites, and somehow I had it rigged up where it would count and give me the total. Well, it was AdSense. I would go to Google AdSense because I had AdSense on every page of every website I had, and so Google AdSense would tell me how much traffic, how many people had come, and it was 22,000 a day, which again was equaling about $4,000 a month. And that's not much. That's not 22,000 visits a day. In today's terms is nothing. It was pretty good in the early 2000s, but not even that good. But it was, it was enough that I got to stay home and not have to go get a job. So it was fun. It was fun with all these domain names. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Like I say, I've got about 50 of them still. Probably 10 to 20 of them are for sale at auction. Some of them sell. They sell like maybe 1 or 2 a year. The rest of them, if I get tired of, I think they cost me about $8 a year. You know, so I may eventually, some of them I've noticed I've been letting some of them go because I know that they're not going to sell at auction. I'm never going to put a website on them, and I don't need to be spending $9 a year for the domain name. So some of them I will let go. But anyway, there you go. Let me know, do you guys own any domain names? If you do, what are you doing with them? Do you have domain names that you're not doing anything with, that you just own the domain name? Let me know. Curtis at curtistucker.com, Shags at shaggyduck.com. I appreciate you guys checking in. If you guys are watching on YouTube, hello, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers, please. If you guys are listening on your favorite podcasting platform, device, app, please give me a subscribe. Somebody send me an email. Somebody send me a episode idea. Somebody reach out and say hello. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. We'll get at you later. See ya.